We are Android developers from XM. For those of you, very happy to be here with you today. Welcome. For those of you who don't know XM is a forex trading company. Forex is really exchanging one currency for the other. So if you have euros and you want to trade for dollars and profit from the difference, this is all there is to it. We also offer cryptocurrencies. We are leading in forex, and we just entered the crypto market. The title of this talk is Screenshot Testing the UI and beyond. So I guess you're here because, like us, you're interested in testing. So quick show of hands, how many of you write unit tests to test your business logic? That's nice. And how many of you write UI tests to test your business or application logic? Nice. Don't be shy. So there are two mainstream ways to test your UI in Android. It's roboelectric, where you can set your view state, like if a text is set on a text view. And there's also espresso, where you can test for more complex view assertions, like if a view is currently present on the screen, or what happens when you click a button, stuff like that. There's also a third way to do UI testing in Android, and this is screenshot testing. Screenshot testing is a visual testing method where instead of asserting on a single property like a text or a visibility flag or something like that, you actually assert on an entire image. That could be the image of an activity, a fragment, or just a single view. Now, why would you want to So let me show you how this works. First, you run your test in record mode, and what this does is it creates an image of the view of your subject under test and stores it on the disk. Later, you make changes to your code and you run your test in verify mode. If the tests differ somehow, the test will fail, and a diff image will be generated displaying what changed. So, why would you want to do this? I would argue that by just adding screenshot testing to your workflow, you gain quite a lot. You are actually asserting on not just a single property, but the whole view. This means that you assert on fonts, font sizes, paddings, colors, things you normally never assert for. And why would you want to do this? Well, you want to make sure that your UI is as expected. And you don't do this, usually you could do this with Espresso, but it will make your tests really hard to read and hard to maintain, asserting on every property. And now to paraphrase on a favorite childhood cartoon movie of mine, everything the light touches is actually your test. This is from the Lion King. So also, by having screenshot test, we discovered that while we're developing our UI, having a quick way to render our views actually helped us a lot. Because we no longer have to write our view, fire up the simulator, and go to the view that we are interested in. And maybe it's very deep in your navigation stack, so you have to click on the item, the purchase page, and see the checkout page, if that's what you're developing. You no longer have to do that. You just click record, and you see the output, which is very groundbreaking when you're developing your UI. Also, you're future-proofing yourself. By having screenshot test, you avoid regression bugs on all sorts of properties. But we didn't stop there. We actually maximized what we could gain from screenshot testing. We are able now, because we have screenshot testing, we're able now to test multiple UI cases, because we can mock our data, we can render multiple variations of our UI without having to manually recreate our scenario, all in one pass. So this is what the trader sees when he opens our app. This is the market trading hours, working hours, let's say. So if you want to trade a forex symbol, you go to the text, and this is what you see. So you can check how your view looks like when you're currently in the working hours, when the market is closed, when the market has multiple working hours, when there's an error. You can test for error state, incomplete states. Very hard to actually accomplish in production. Also, if your app, like ours, supports multiple languages, again, you can view the output immediately in a single pass. Because our app supports 27 languages, it would be impractical to have 27 artifacts to discover, to overview. So that's why we employ the pseudo-localization mechanism, where each stream is replaced with some exotic characters. We also add some leading and trailing characters, so we can now stress our UI in terms of content. And see if something gets truncated or I don't know what. We now have one dimension instead of 27. Also, you can very easily see how your view stretches in larger devices. You don't have to open a tablet simulator. You can see how your view gets compressed immediately. Again, if your app supports multiple theming, like ours, very easy to preview it. So what you end up with is something like this. All your permutations of the screens, impossible states, error states, things very hard to recreate, you immediately have a general overview of them. Now, I know what you might be thinking, and you'll be half right? The other half is due to the efforts of Facebook engineers, which they developed and they are actually using the screenshot testing library. We are also using internally a gradient plugin from Karuni, which is another company, that automates some tasks, generates some very nice HTML reports that you'll be able to see later on from Christoforos. And all this is very CI friendly. We actually have it in our CI pipeline. And you'll see that also, actually the report. So let me just, can you read the code here? Is it okay back there?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. So this is just a very simple test. Christoforos will be more thorough. A simple unit test. It's actually in an instrumentation test. It's in the Android test folder. Nothing special. Here we have our classic Android code. We inflate a view using the instrumentation context. This is where things get interesting. Now, we're feeding the view to the view helpers, let's say the screenshot testing library. We're initializing it to be 300 dp wide. And we're calling layout. Now, this is where the magic happens. Layout is actually what the guys at Facebook managed. It mimics Android's native measure, layout, and draw lifecycle methods in a deterministic way, which is very hard to accomplish when you're testing UI. This is done on the test thread, not on the UI thread. And every time you call this, you will get the exact same result. No animations, no cryptic, I don't know, things that you might implement differently. This is very important when you test UI to avoid flakiness. Finally, all we have to do is take a screenshot and record it depending on the mode. Here we record. This will be saved on the file system, and depending on if we are recording or verifying, it will pull also the files from the device. So let's go and actually see how all this fits together.
Okay, now we're going to show you the demo. Everybody see? Yes, okay. So here we have a typical test class. And
Can you enter presentation mode?
yes, of course.
That would be
Is it better?
yes.
Okay. So, as Nikos said, since screenshot files will be generated and stored on the target device, we're going to need to grant the external storage rule. So, here is a rule that is going to grant this permission for us to do the test. And let's write our first test. Okay. Here we're going to test our view against the two market sessions where the market is open, and the current time is going to be somewhere in the middle. This is a sample representation of the view to be in context with what we're going to write. So let's create our view. Okay, here's our view. And our view is going to need some data.
This is a custom view, nothing more than a compound layout.
So let's create our first market session, which opens at 1 and closes at 5. Let's create a second market session, which opens at 9 and closes at 12.
This is just domain models, especially here.
Let's create the current time, which is at 3. And let's create the view state object and set it to our view. Okay. So now, you're imagine as a set where we are feeding our view to the left. Okay.
This is exactly the same thing we described earlier, sorry. 2 market sessions, current time is somewhere in between.
Okay, so this is the test. Simple as that. Okay, so let's go back and record.
You have created some grading tasks to automate this figure.
And the report is ready.
This is how long it takes to actually get the render of your UI.
So a report is generated by the plugin, as Nikos said. Let's see the record report. Can you see? It's clear now. Here we have the test class, the test name, and here is the screenshot. The first market session, the second market session, and the current time, as you can find. Okay. So this has to be committed and someone is going to review.
So I'm now assuming the role of the reviewer, like you probably all be in these shoes. So the code looks okay. I have nothing to add, though here we're dealing with minutes. So time, minutes, I wouldn't expect it to return float. I mean, I think long is a more proper type for minutes, right? It makes sense. So yeah, go ahead and change that to long.
Sounds right. Let's change this one. This one. Okay, but let's verify.
Yeah, the compiler doesn't complain. It's all good. We don't expect something to happen, right? But we wouldn't have a sample if the test didn't fail, so.
Now let's fail. Let's not happen. Here we have the verification report where something is wrong. And the report shows us the original screenshot as before. The new screenshot.
What was generated after we changed the type?
So you can see that something is off. And the T screenshot. Something is there. So
Yeah, we have to go and fix that, right? I mean, we have to go back to the code, see what changed, what we changed, and figure out what happened.
okay, let's see where this is used. Okay, we have a division here. This is long. We used float, so I think we lost our floating point. Back to basis then. Let's cast this to float. But let's verify again. Voila, that's fast.
Yeah. So even though we're not asserting on the actual output of normalized time, we're effectively, because we have this change detector logic employed, we're safeguarded. But that's not all, right? Because we are getting, we're generating, while we're decoding our UI, we're generating our assets, we're generating our screens. When you're actually pushing your changes for someone to review, all these are also part of of your commit. So this is what we're calling part of the perfect pull request. There are other things like writing proper comments and having a good clean commit history. But when you're developing UI, actually seeing in context a preview of what the code you're reviewing is very powerful. It removes all that cognitive load you have to put in understanding UI code. You might not even want to download it and run it. I will not suggest it, but it's there. The output is there for you. You can inspect it immediately. We have also a Medium post on our company blog site explaining some broader concepts about snapshot testing and characterization testing in general. You can go ahead and check that out. There's also a great talk that a colleague gave, and it's on YouTube, about characterization testing. I highly suggest you look that also. It's in a much bigger picture, not just Android specific, but in computer science sense. We've uploaded the slides, the speaker deck. We have the code there for you at GitHub with Blogspot, and download the two libraries that we're using for the demo and in our actual code base. So that was all. Thank you very much. Sure.
Based on the speed of the running, I guess it's running on GVM, it's not starting.
No, it's actually starting an emulator.
It's starting.
We cheated a bit.
Yeah.
We actually have fired the simulator. It was running in the background. Yeah.
But it builds the APK and
yeah, it builds, it installs, but it doesn't launch it. I mean, in a sense of actually displaying the UI. It just needs it. It just needs to render it.
But the question is, if you have like a large APK, like 50 megabytes,
Yeah.
then it will install 50 megabytes, right? And then it will run.
Yeah, but if you take into account incremental builds and stuff like that, yeah, it's not really that much time.
So it works with it?
Yeah.
Okay. And also I want to ask regarding web views.
Yeah.
Can you render web views and test those?
Do you want to take that? Okay. So, testing web views is a tricky part because you're not on the rendering happens because you have to load some external data. If you walk your data, like if you have a string and you say load this HTML page, but this is what you want to do. Do you want to test the web view or do you want to test the content? If you want to test the content, then I suggest using Jest, which is screenshot snapshot testing for the web. But if you're talking about not native apps, progressive, yeah, I don't know about that actually.
Yeah, I mean, like you have an app that's native and you have like a help that's like web view, and then
Yeah, the help
like
should
starting
the help should be screenshot tested separately from your
Okay.
questions. Yeah.
So you're testing mostly individual views and not the entire screen?
Well, you could. We're using it for individual views because we found it faster. Like we're coding independently parts of our view, so
Is it less flaky?
no, it's no different. Not different.
I have one other question. So
You can talk afterwards, but
you have you push the screenshots along with your pull requests.
Yeah.
Do you think this bloats your size of the report?
great question. That's actually one of the cons, which we magically not included. Yeah, there are technical solutions. You could create a Git sub module just for your artifacts, but yeah, that's one of the downsides, that it bloats your Git repo.
I think there's something called Git LFS, large file storage.
Sure. Yeah, that's one solution also. Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
So it means we use Bitrise for CI/CD.
Sorry.
We use Bitrise
Okay.
for CI/CD. So like, do we have a book? Like, can I include this as a step in my CI/CD?
Well,
Is there kind of because I do it for other?
how do you run grading tasks?
Yeah, it means the test like espresso I do run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes some time, but we have to. But like is there a step which we can also include in
Yeah, if you have a way in your CI/CD, we're using Jenkins. So if you have a way in your, there's no specific plugin. If you can run a grading command,
Yes,
that's all there is to it. You just run a command. Nothing special.
Are there any limitations regarding the API level?
Limitations about the API level. I think it's 15 and above. There is a minor thing that, again, I mentioned, when you're doing screenshot testing, you have to make sure that the one who's recording and the one who's verifying use the same API level, because there are subtle differences in the way, let's say, Android handles font rendering. So you'll find that your UI breaks if you're recording in API 17 and verifying in API 19. So you have to be in sync. That's a gotcha. Did I answer your question?
So I was wondering how long it increased the build time. So for example, also using Git and our build time takes right now up to 15 or 16 minutes for a big app. So I wonder how much does it affect your pull requests to build those kind of things?
You mean on your CI?
Yeah.
In our case, it's about 1 minute and a half for screenshot testing, because the emulator is fired up every time, but it takes just 2 seconds.
So for us, we don't have it like in our entire code base. We've been using it for 5 or 6 months now. So everything new gets screenshot tested. There's some old screens that we're refactoring, but yeah, as Christoforos says, roughly 2 minutes. This pipeline takes roughly 2 minutes to verify and stuff like that. Anything else?
So the question is more on the gotcha that you mentioned that the API has to be seen.
Yeah.
So does that mean if you are testing it on, like, say, from API 14 till 29 right now, you're literally filing like those emulators or something?
Well, you're not. Okay, so you're not really interested in how the API renders. I don't know how Android 19. Well, how Android 21. Let's leave 21 and below. How Android 21 or 25 actually renders your view. I mean, you're expected to be the same, right? You don't expect differences in the way Roboto is rendered or green is displayed. You don't expect that difference. This is what I meant, that you have to use the same API, because this might change, but your view in a more abstract way will be the same. Good? Yeah, I think our time is up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, can you force the resource buckets used for the render? Like say, okay, use MVP images or use this?
Yeah.
There is an API for that. Right?
It depends on the emulator you have.
Yeah.
This is what you
No, but I want to know, can you set and test? Okay, now run the test for the end DPI and then run the test for the H DPI. And then like capture screenshots.
2 screenshots of the same view.
Yeah, but from the different resolutions,
resolutions.
yes.
I guess you could. I guess you could run it on different emulators.
You need to run
Yeah.
the different. Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
No, catch us later. I mean,
Okay.
we have to move on. Thank you very much, guys.